Right off the bat, I want to get this out of the way. No, your eyes do not deceive you. I am back. After 3 years without uploading, I have returned to YouTube, and we're picking up right where we left off, being depressed about Destiny. For those of you who are interested, I'll explain where I've been, but we'll do so in the comments because 1, I feel like this video is already going to be very long, and 2, I imagine not everyone watching this cares or really knows anything about this channel. Crisis within the Destiny community is admittedly not uncommon. However, there is genuine reason for concern. Player counts are reaching all-time lows, leadership is changing, Destiny creators are quitting or taking breaks from the game left and right, and I'm back making videos. Truly unprecedented times we are living in today. I have played every single piece of major Destiny content since the beginning. Destiny Vanilla all the way to the final shape. However, this year I decided to not play Edge of Fate and have no plans returning unless certain things change. The last time I played Destiny 2 was on February 5th, which I think is the longest break I've ever taken from the game. I had to break that streak to get some gameplay for this video, which hurt a little bit to be honest. I haven't felt this way since I broke a snap streak in high school. Anyway, before I get into my list, I want to preface it with a few things. My intent is not to drag Destiny and Bungie through the mud for however long this video is. The parentheses in the title are the most important part. I want Destiny to be the best it can be. So while there will be plenty of criticism in this video, said criticism will be paired with solutions. I don't want to just complain about what's wrong, I want to outline a path to make things right. Also, when you take into account real-world game development pipelines and Bungie's current situation, much of this is probably a stretch, unfortunately. I don't think my suggestions are impossible, just unlikely to actually happen given the circumstances. But from a fan's perspective, this is how you turn the ship around. This is what would bring me back to Destiny 2. So how would I, a random person on YouTube that hasn't uploaded in years, fix Destiny? I've broken this down into 4 categories or sections. These are really in no particular order, but the first is putting the content vault into the content vault. Destiny's content vault remains one of the most consequential decisions in the franchise's history. From what I recall, the intent behind the content vault was a lighter client, a simpler director screen, faster, more streamlined iteration. That all sounds nice, but in my experience, if you ask any Destiny player about the content vault, regardless of how much they've played the game, they don't like it. It has completely fragmented the experience. New players are presented with an onboarding experience that has amputated the story and universe they're supposed to care about. Returning players have had hours of content they paid for removed from the experience, now unplayable to them. There's so much FOMO and time gating injected into this game that even as someone that's invested like myself, if I take some time off, it feels like when I come back, the bridge between then and now was deleted while I was away. This has gotten so bad that Bungie themselves have literally had to rely on content creators archiving their game on YouTube to defend themselves in court. Now, there have been some attempts to remedy this in the past, but they haven't quite hit the mark in my opinion. What I want to see is a dedicated, permanent Light and Darkness Saga archive within Destiny 2. How would this work? Generally speaking, I think it would be great if there was a place in the director where you click on the Light and Darkness Saga or whatever you want to call it. That opens a separate menu where you can pick a campaign, a mission from said campaign, and you're in. No timers, no FOMO, just the way the story was meant to be seen. I understand it cannot be a one-to-one recreation, and it doesn't need to be. Make it like a museum, not a full restoration, just an instance curated archive of each campaign with a bit of context so it flows together well enough. Some people may say this isn't worth doing just for nostalgia, and I would agree, except I don't think this is for nostalgia. Players need an onboarding ramp. A player who understands the world they're in is much more likely to stick around. It also gives returning players a runway back and honors their purchases. It makes the entire experience feel more coherent because every player now shares the same context. People that upkeep wiki pages and make Destiny story recaps make valuable content. But if your game requires that to be the means by which your players experience the story, that is a problem. Keeping things modular is going to be really important here. Convert Destiny 2 into a small evergreen base install, include the current destinations, live service bits, Crucible maps, Vanguard ops, maybe even Gambit. Then put all the major expansions in boxes so you can just toggle them on and off with the install. If you want to replay the Witch Queen campaign, download that package, play the campaign with a simple, clean mission select, and that's it. When you're done, you can remove it to save storage space. Now, this wouldn't come without restraints. Over the years, vendors have relocated, economies were overhauled, mechanics added and removed. That's again why I think keeping it to just the instanced campaign missions, sort of like they've already done, just include the entire thing, would be enough for most people. If you can do more than that, great. Now, this is not something I see as being easy to do. Given what we know about the Red War campaign, it would be a massive undertaking, requiring money and time Bungie may not have, or at least may not want to invest in something like this. But being honest, as players, those problems aren't our problem. And you can make a very strong argument the only reason why this would be a massive undertaking is because Bungie has allowed things to get this bad in the first place. The longer you leave the foundation alone, the more it erodes and the more work would be required to fix it. If Bungie wants to be serious about Destiny's future, they need to stabilize its past. Replace the scavenger hunt you've been building for players with an actual front door. Do this and I think it will improve player acquisition, retention, and goodwill. The next thing I want to address briefly is the Crucible. Remember when PvP was like a pillar of this franchise? Remember when Destiny 2 Vanilla came out and people were upset about how much the game seemed to be balanced around being a competitive shooter? I don't bring that up to say I don't enjoy the chaotic, super powerful fantasy available now, but to point out how much Bungie has repositioned prioritization towards the PvE experience. The Crucible is a maintenance item within this game, and that outcome has come with a cost. For one thing, it's at odds with the expectations of players who followed Bungie from Halo, or simply liked Destiny more as a PvP game. Those players had their primary mode become an afterthought, with content scarcity, erratic balance, and really long update cycles. We've known for a while now that talent was reallocated from Destiny to Marathon, which, regardless of the optics on that game, only compounded this perception. There needs to be a reinvestment in Destiny's Crucible. I'm talking about new maps on a regular cadence, rotate experimental modes, refresh rewards, make it a headline feature again. Give me something to strive for in PvP again. Trials of Osiris used to feel like an event. Iron Banner used to feel rewarding. You need to invigorate some new life in there. Give us Destiny's version of Forge from Halo or something. Custom games that are more than just a private match. Destiny has so many abilities and exotic weapons, you could go crazy with that. And if you're a PvE only player and don't care about PvP, I think this benefits you as well. A robust PvP experience soaks up engagement between PvE updates. If the Crucible is healthy, the game doesn't get stale as quickly. You don't need to crank out the same formulaic seasonal activities over and over again to keep people from logging off. Next, I want to talk about the Eververse store, but not in the way you may assume. This has less to do with Bungie's financial strategies and more with Destiny's identity, because I would argue it has been severely diluted. We've been seeing this in other games, most notably Call of Duty, where relentless crossovers make the game you fell in love with practically unrecognizable. Destiny has been drifting in this same direction for years. The immersiveness of this universe is at an all-time low for me, and this has culminated with Renegades, a full-blown Star Wars-themed expansion. I remember back when Destiny was being shown to the world for the first time around 2013, and Bungie talked about how they wanted one image to evoke a sense of awe and curiosity, to make you ask, what is that? Can I go there? What will I find? To be frank, I don't think the answer to that question should be an AT-AT. Bungie already proved they could translate its inspirations into something distinctly Destiny. Is the Tangled Shore not already a space western setting? Was the spider already not Jabba the Hutt? When Destiny first came out, I distinctly remember looking at others in the tower, inspecting their character and wondering how they got their loot. Other Guardians used to be like a chronicle, signals of place and triumph and discovery. Now some of the coolest gear in the game can just be bought. It's antithetical to the very reason I want to play this game. And I know you still earn raid loot and whatnot, but that's not the point. In the Taken King era, we had boss-specific loot, items signifying defeating a certain boss from a certain mission. It was earned and fit within the actual Destiny universe. Now we have literal Darth Vader helmet. The relationship between a player's look and the world that produced it has been flattened. Destiny's fiction has become a background to its storefront. Maybe other people like it, maybe other people buy it, but I want gear in Destiny to be earnable. I want it to look like it belongs in this universe because I love this universe. I don't want to play Star Wars, I want to play Destiny. I want the tower to tell stories of where players have been, the discoveries they've made, enemies they've faced. The more Destiny looks like itself, the more valuable its world becomes. I'm not fully against cosmetic items or microtransactions, but if I ask a Guardian where they got something, the answer should lead me to an activity, not my credit card information. My final point is likely the one you've been expecting me to talk about from the beginning. Destiny needs a hard reset. It's time. Be it Destiny 3 or some other title, Destiny 2's live service cadence has run its course. I fully expected Destiny 3 to come after the final shape, and was very surprised to learn that that was not the route they were taking. I made a video talking about a potential Destiny 3 on January 31st, 2020. Destiny has and has always had an incredible foundation. Best-in-class gunplay, gorgeous art, wonderful music. But I think when you look at the whole of the Destiny package over the years, the game has been left largely unchanged. Bungie has essentially been iterating on their original systems year after year instead of doing anything truly transformative. Open world design has remained largely the same. There's enemies to shoot, some sort of public event on rotation, lost sectors, planetary materials, those beacons that give you a little objective to complete. I think if we're being really honest with ourselves as Destiny fans, we still have the same 4 enemy factions that we had when the game first came out. The Taken are cool and have some original attacks, but are existing enemies with a different material on them. The Scorn are fallen, reskinned. Even enemy design shares similar mechanics. Can a Screeb not just be described as a fast curse thrall? And when they threw the Dread into the final shape, which was clearly shoehorned in there at the last second, the first enemy I saw suppressed me. Visually, they are very cool. Very cool. But again, a Titan in the Crucible in 2013 could suppress me. It's the same mechanic. Most of the supers fundamentally do the same thing. You either do big damage in one area or do damage roaming around for a bit. With some variation obviously, but you get the point. What is the difference between suspending a target with Strand or freezing a target with Stasis? Outside of particle effects and the sound it makes, I would argue nothing. Again, I'm not saying all of this just to complain, but I cannot stress this enough. Going back to my previous point, early versions of Destiny sold emotion with a single frame. The mysterious traveler hanging over the city, a rusted gantry in the Cosmodrome. You felt the pull of this world, wanted to explore it, uncover its secrets. Go back and listen to The Path for me right now on Spotify or wherever you can access it. Skip to 4 minutes and 42 seconds and just ask, when was the last time Destiny made me feel like that? Go and just click play on The Ecstasy and just listen to the whole thing. Just listen to the entirety of the Music of Spheres now that we can actually do so after all these years. Again, I'm not speaking from a place of nostalgia, wishing things were like they used to be. Destiny back in the day had tons of problems. It was arguably worse than it is now. I'm just pointing out that Destiny was built upon a sense of awe, wonder, and discovery. These days, Destiny is predictable. Every single stone has already been unturned. Kepler and the Edge of Fate is something I've seen 10 times over. Vex roaming around, fallen architecture. I'm tired of shooting captains. I'm tired of them putting a different color helmet on the Cabal and calling it new. And perhaps the worst part of this is, I don't even think this is fully Bungie's fault. The model demands a constant flow of content, so brainstorming then crafting something truly new is something they likely don't have time for. Pulling teams off the live service treadmill to build new tech and content that won't be monetizable for years is a risky move. I don't think Marathon can fund Destiny 3, and I'm not optimistic Sony would invest in that project either. But I'll tell you what, I want to fly my ship. I want to explore new planets. I want to be the one to potentially find new planets while I'm flying my ship. And while I'm there, I want to encounter something new and unexpected. What if Destiny exploration was seamless, more like No Man's Sky? What if we could make choices that actually mattered and affected the world with faction territories and shifting borders? What if planets had dynamic weather you needed certain gear to even traverse? I'm not saying all these are genius ideas, but it's something different. And Destiny desperately needs something different. If you like Destiny, you'll like this. has been this franchise's unspoken marketing line for years, used by myself and many others. And while hearing that is usually good news for Destiny fans, it is equally a safety net and a ceiling. It reassures the faithful while telling everyone else to check back later. That needs to change, now more than ever post Final Shape. The next chapter needs to come, and it cannot simply be more Destiny for those that love Destiny. Destiny needs to stop rotating and start building. Start selling wonder again, and actually deliver upon that promise. If you've made it all the way to the end, thank you so much for watching the video. If you want to share it with a friend or leave a like, it would be greatly appreciated. Feel free to let me know in the comments what your thoughts are of Destiny in the current days. And if you're new here, subscribe for more. Thank you all again, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.